Good evening. Today marks a historic moment as we gather here today to celebrate the inauguration ceremony of a groundbreaking master's program. This program is set to revolutionize the way we think about energy consumption, waste management, and environmental sustainability. The world is facing an existential crisis with climate change threatening our very existence. But in this moment, hope shines bright. The Master of Science in Energy for Circular Economy represents a bold step towards a better future, a future where we prioritize renewable energy sources, a future where we reduce waste and regenerate our ecosystems. So let us come together to celebrate this momentous occasion and pay tribute to the visionaries who made it possible. Welcome to the inauguration ceremony of the Master of Science in Energy for Circular Economy. This program will deliver new and unique concepts to the Sri Lankan academic environment, such as remote laboratories and a flipped classroom structure. This fully online, 2-year postgraduate degree program was funded by Erasmus Plus of the European Union and jointly developed by 4 local universities and 3 foreign universities. The University of Peradeniya, University of Ruhuna, University of Moratuwa, the Royal Institute of Sweden, University of Twente, Netherlands, Centrale Supélec of France, and the main coordinator of the OUSL energy project, the Open University of Sri Lanka. Partnered by FutureLearn, Learnify, and associate partners, Time Association, the alumni of Sustainable Energy Engineering Worldwide Sri Lanka, and Nitro Consultancy Private Limited. This is a historical event as 4 local universities come together to offer a joint master's program with foreign collaboration. So before we begin, ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to please rise for the national anthem.
Sri
To mark this grand occasion, I'd like to invite the following distinguished guests to light the traditional oil lamp. Senior Professor Sampath Amaratunga, the Chairman of the University Grants Commission. Professor P.M.C. Tilakaratna, Program Director of the OUSL Energy Project. The Vice Chancellor of the Open University of Sri Lanka. Professor N.D. Gunawardana, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Moratuwa. Professor M.D. Lamawansa, the Vice Chancellor of University of Peradeniya. Senior Professor Sujiva Amarasena, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Ruhuna. Dr. H.G.P.A. Ratnavira, Dean, Faculty of Engineering and Technology of the University of Moratuwa. Professor K.T.M.U. Hemapala, Dean, Faculty of Engineering, University of Moratuwa. Dr. U.I. Disanayaka, Faculty of Engineering, University of Peradeniya. Dr. Chitral Ambawatta, Dean, Faculty of Engineering, University of Ruhuna. Engineer Ruchira Abevira, Program Manager. Dr. Iresha Attanayaka, Program Coordinator of the Open University of Sri Lanka. Dr. Dulika Gunawardana, Program Coordinator of the University of Moratuwa. Dr. Sumit Baduge, Program Coordinator of the University of Ruhuna. Engineer Lekha Bakmi Dinya, Program Coordinator of the University of Peradeniya. And Engineer Lakshita Veerasinghe, Deputy General Manager, Transmission and Generation Planning of the Ceylon Electricity Board. Thank you, dear distinguished guests. Now I'd like to invite the following dignitaries to the head table. The Chairman of the University Grants Commission, Senior Professor Sampath Amaratunga. The Vice Chancellor of the University of Peradeniya, Professor M.D. Lamawansa. The Vice Chancellor of the University of Ruhuna, Senior Professor Sujiva Amarasena. Professor K.T.M.U. Hemapala, Dean of the Faculty of Engineering, University of Moratuwa. Professor P.M.C. Tilakaratna, the Program Director of the OUSL Energy Project and the Project Coordinator, and as well as the Vice Chancellor of the Open University of Sri Lanka. Engineer Lakshita Veerasinghe, Deputy General Manager of Transmission and General Planning of the Ceylon Electricity Board. Thank you, dear distinguished guests. Now, tonight's welcome speech will be given by a dignitary who is no stranger to us. He has a PhD in finance from the University of Aegean, Greece. He was the coordinator of the World Bank-funded project on improving the relevance and quality of undergraduate education in Sri Lanka. Please put your hands together to the Vice Chancellor of the Open University of Sri Lanka and the program coordinator, the director, of the OUSL Energy Project, Professor PMC Tilakaratna.
The resources of our planet are limited. For this reason, we are committed to establishing the circular economy as a sustainable, future-oriented concept in industry and to protect the earth in this way. Good evening, everyone, and I'm highly delighted to see you all in this hall. Senior Professor Sampath Amaratunga, Chairman, University Grant Commission, Professor M.D. Lamavansa, Vice Chancellor, University of Peradeniya, Professor Sujiva Amarasena, Vice Chancellor, University of Ruhuna, Professor Udayanga Hemapala, Dean, Faculty of Engineering, University of Moratuwa, representing Vice Chancellor, University of Moratuwa, Professor Gunawardana, and Deans, heads of the departments, professors, and academic staff of universities, and other members of the DASH, Registrar, Bursa, all university administrative officers, and non-academic staff. More importantly, new learning partners, ladies and gentlemen. The circular economy is oriented to nature as its role model. In sense, the concept of the circular economy aims to keep raw materials in a closed loop. In this way, resources are maximally used, the need for new ones reduced, waste is avoided, and life cycle of product is increased. In short, the waste of today becomes the raw material tomorrow, the same as in the nature. In this way, the circular economy differs from the current economic system, that is the linear system in which products are manufactured, used and disposed of. On behalf of the consortium formed for the Master of Science in Energy for Circular Economy postgraduate degree program, it's my great pleasure and privilege to welcome you, every one of you, to this special occasion. First and foremost, I would like to welcome Senior Professor Sampath Amaratunga, the Chairman to this occasion, Chairman, University Grant Commission for this occasion. I appreciate your unprecedented support and cooperation to bring this, master's program to the reality. Always, the group efforts are not easy, but we have maintained the group consensus throughout past few years. And today, we all are witnessing this program. Thank you very much, sir, for your presence. A very warm welcome to Professor M.D. Lamavansa, the Vice Chancellor, University of Peradeniya, and Professor Sujiva Amarasena, Vice Chancellor, University of Ruhuna. Again, I appreciate your presence and unconditional support extended of this endeavor. I especially welcome our keynote speaker to this event, Emeritus Professor Torsten Franzen, together with other eminent academics joining from Stockholm, Sweden. Professor Torsten is main driving force behind this initiation. I welcome you, sir. Then I welcome deans, heads of the departments, professors, and all other senior academics. In the same, scale, I welcome our registrar, Bursa, and other university administrative and non-academic staff to this occasion because they have done the tremendous support. They extended their cooperation up to this level. Next in line, our learning partners selected to follow this program the very first time. Like the lamp we lit, the lamp symbolizes darkness to light. I have no doubt that the first cohort of students will bring the light as brand ambassadors for the future. Therefore, I extend a warm welcome to our first cohort of registered students, numbering 121 today. You are privileged because you will meet up incredibly talented faculty will be your guides and collaborators in your exploration. They are your greatest resource. The scholars here are leaders in their fields and are applying their expertise through knowledge, research, and real-world practice to address both the most pressing challenges of the energy for circular economy. This program is unique in several aspects. Firstly, this is the first time in Sri Lankan history, of the university history, form a consortium to offer master's degree program, single master's degree program. Secondly, the program development assisted by the 3 well-renowned engineering universities in Europe, such as Royal Institute of Technology, Sweden, University of Twente in Netherlands, Centre Supélec, France. Thirdly, it is one of the benchmark projects in terms of capacity building in energy for circular economy and funded by the European Union. Fourthly, program runs full virtual platform, which is innovative, flexible, and pertinent. Dear learning partners, as you set out on the incredible journey that will help to shape the policy makers, workers, citizens, and different makers you are destined to be, I would invite you to consider the difference between education and training. Training from the Latin to drag, to pull after, is preparation for the known. Education again to raise up and to lead out is preparation for the unknown. The journey will be challenging, and I guarantee it will definitely change your life. I want you to know that the entire university community, the Open University of Sri Lanka, University of Peradeniya, University of Ruhuna, University of Moratuwa, is here to support, sustain, and encourage you as you commit to study to complete your master's degree. It is you who make us what we are, and we look forward to fresh the ideas to obtain and energy you bring to the universities. Therefore, on behalf of the organizing committee, I thank you for being with us this evening. It is true honor and great pleasure to have you participate in this inauguration. Thank you and have a pleasant evening.
Thank you, dear sir. Ladies and gents, it's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker for tonight. He is considered as an expert in the field of economics with a special reference to rural development. He has been conferred with the title, the Order of the Rising Sun, by the Japanese government for his contributions to enhance friendly relations with Japan. Please put your hands together to the Chairman of the University Grants Commission, Senior Professor Sampath Amaratunga.
Good evening. Vice Chancellor OUSL, VC Peradeniya, Vice Chancellor Ruhuna University of Sri Lanka, Dean of the Faculty of Engineering, Deputy General Manager, Ceylon Electricity Board, and also the keynote speaker joining from Sweden, deans of all engineering faculties, deans of OUSL, academia, administrative staff, candidates of the program, ladies and gentlemen. I have never ever seen 4 logos like this in one banner in my life. Sometimes when we represent sports in foreign countries, we bring small pamphlets like this. But I think this is the first time academia of engineering and science working together to give a solution for the nation like this. I thought why UGC logo is not here. I know definitely nobody likes the regulator. Everywhere you go, that's true. So better to keep away the regulator from the playing field. That's true. So I did my PhD in Japan, and that is nearly 25 years ago. It was a school called Combined School. 4 universities work together and establish one school. So PhD students in one place can take anybody's classes. Sometimes you have to fly to another place. That is the way how the Japanese government asks universities to work together. So inside most of the universities, they have collaborated and established schools like engineering, science, and technology. These are 3 different faculties, but they have developed some graduate schools combining everybody to get a better output. So this amalgamation is unbelievable. Coming back to the origins of this collaboration, I have searched from here. I have sent a small text message in 2021, 15th of January, the time here it's 1:54 p.m. to all VCs. Dear VCs, University of Peradeniya, Moratuwa, so on. Please sign the EU Erasmus 2019 and 2020 MOUs with the relevant parties. Verbally, I have received the temporary approval from the Presidential Secretariat to go ahead. Why? There was a policy, if you are going to sign a MOU, first you have to send that to the UGC. So within 2 or 3 days maximum, we send the MOU to ministry. Then Higher Education Ministry, they have to send this to Foreign Affairs. They check word by word. And if there are any sentence which they can't agree, they contact the university. They post letters and they receive letters as well. After that, they have to send this to General Treasury, especially to the external resources to get their consent. Finally, we have to send the MOU to Attorney General's division. Finalizing everything, we have to prepare a cabinet paper for the MOU. And then, after the consent given by the cabinet, then we will be able to sign. So we have signed this without these consents of each and every place. The main reason was, all VCs said, if we don't sign the MOU today, we will be definitely blacklisted by the European Union, this particular Erasmus program. So somehow we have to write. Then I contacted and explained the situation, cannot wait. Now it is almost 12 months gone and we don't have time. So I thought actually signing the MOU is better than occupying the seat at the UGC. To be honest. Then I wrote this text message and I have asked Professor Sujiva, can you remember this text? Before I come to the podium, I showed this text. So that is the way how we started this, and we have come a long way. And OUSL VC requested, before we get the commission approval for the MSc program, he asked, can you give me a letter to produce at the Erasmus conference that you have approved this? So how can I give that? So I have now a habit of giving such letters as pending approval. It's very common letter which we use in university administration. So I have given him a letter. Tilak, am I correct? Yes. I have given him a letter. So like that, we have to work together. We should not have boundaries. Just to imagine when science and engineering of Peradeniya, Moratua, OUSL and Ruhuna working together. Just to imagine the size, the human capacity, the technology, and the audience that we cater, all 3 A's. Everybody from different places. Golden sons of the nation. So there is something today to admire. So thank you very much for VCs taking all the trouble during this COVID, the pandemic time. And I have met all deans of engineering 2 weeks ago. They have explained me the difficulties of functioning faculties. You can't advertise, you can't recruit, nobody asks money from UGC. It has become a common. Today, nobody asks. Everybody knows that we don't have money to distribute. But system is functioning. System is functioning. Maybe all academics are repeating lectures. Some places, morning you have to have one lecture, the same lecture you have to twice repeat because the batch is huge. Even practicals, same. But we are working and there is output. So I want to pay my gratitude also to all VCs, academia, deans, administrative staff, and the total population, including students. So thank you so much, and wish and pray the future developments as well. If we can bring more universities to the same banner, just to imagine the capacity which we can work together. So thank you, and hope to see the convocation after 2 years at the correct given time. Okay.
Thank you, sir. It really is a beautiful sight to see 4 local universities together. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's keynote speech is from someone dear to us, all the way from Sweden. Elected to the board of directors of the International Gas Turbine Institute, he received the French National Order of Merit in 2002, the ASME Dedicated Service Award in 2003. He has published over 200 scientific papers in the fields of energy and turbomachinery. Joining us all the way from Sweden, please put your hands together to welcome the International Coordinator of the EUSL Energy Project and Chairman of the Division of Heat and Power Technology at the Royal Institute of Technology, Sweden, Professor Torsten Franzen.
Dear UTP Chairman, dear Vice Chancellors, teachers, colleagues and friends, distinguished guests, and dear students. It's a great pleasure for me to be here today from a very, very snowy Sweden. Lots of snowfall the last 2 days, so it's been off shoveling instead of enjoying the sunshine. But that's part of the global collaboration. So it's a great pleasure, as I said, to be here, and it is thanks to the hard work by all the persons involved. We heard from the UGC chairman about the efforts that he has made, the efforts that the vice chancellors have made, and the efforts that the teachers have made. We should definitely give, and I hope that all the students will appreciate this here once you start the program, that the efforts that the teachers have gone through, both the European teachers as well as the Sri Lankan teachers have gone through in order to make this program happen, is tremendous. As was already mentioned, it's co-funded by the Erasmus Plus program of the European Union, who have put in a lot of efforts into it. So, as you've heard, energy is a very global issue, and so is the climate crisis. All material resources that we use on Earth are in principle rare. We need to preserve all these resources as much as possible, and we need to reduce the waste that we have in the. We need to reduce the waste in all perspectives, and that is why an energy in the circular economy is a part of the global answer that we have to give. Now, as you heard, the MECA program is unique in several aspects here in Sri Lanka. First of all, we've got 4 universities in Sri Lanka that joined forces in a master program. The program looks upon the overarching societal perspective. It is student-centered. It has a flipped classroom perspective, as you've already seen, and I'll come back to that in a few minutes. Then it's digital and online. It gives you access to remote experimental facilities, which again is the first time in Sri Lanka that this is happening. And it is challenge-driven and significantly entrepreneurial. So during your studies, you will be challenged in different ways. First of all, you will challenge technically to develop skills towards problem solutions. The entrepreneurial work that you will have to perform will give you the possibility to work on ideas for societal improvements for the entire energy sector. On the didactical side, you have to learn from pre-recorded material and prepare yourself for high-level intellectual discussions with your guys. This is completely different, and that is the flipped classroom perspective. It's completely different from what you're used to usually, in the sense that now you should take in the material before, and the teaching, there's not any teaching directly in the way that you're used to, but there will be discussions between the students and the guides. So, and it might very well happen that if you have not done your homework, that is, you have not answered the prerequisite questions for a specific discussion, then there is no need for you to come to that discussion. You might perhaps not even be invited to the discussion together with the teachers and the peers. You will also have on the didactical side, you have the possibility to collaborate over boundaries in remote groups. And upon graduation, you shall be mature engineers with knowledge, skills, and responsibility to, in autonomy ways, attach the grand challenges that we stand in front of in order to save the spaceship Earth that we all live upon. Now, how will this happen? Well, you will participate in a global journey in the Explore Energy Digital Academy. This is focused on learning, as we were saying, not upon teaching, but upon learning from a global perspective. You will have access to material that will be such that you can do self-paced education. You can use it anywhere, anytime, just in time, or well before or afterwards, of course. You will be able to collect knowledge from the different material that is available, and you will have the specific intended learning outcomes and expected learning outcomes or assessed learning outcomes that will be looked upon in great detail during your studies. Now, how will this be built up? Well, it's built up in such a way that all the material, all the learning takes place in modules. These modules are such that they are up to 5 learning hours, might be more, but in general, they're up to 5 learning hours. And then it's learning hours, it's not teaching hours, it's learning hours such that you expect you students to spend that amount of time upon thoroughly learning the material and also having the discussion with your guides and teachers. Then these modules, they are presented and related to lessons and topics, etc. But the very, very big main issue here is that the learning material The content is in the modules, and it's these modules that you have to study very hard. Now, how is that material put together? Well, it's not put together as usually you might find from one teacher. In this case here, you have got modules that are put together from many, many different teachers. Well, first of all, from the teachers at these 4 universities, plus the 3 universities in Europe. But there are also other universities or teachers from other universities who have contributed with the modules that are available. As I mentioned, each module will correspond to approximately up to 5 learning hours, 3, 4, 5 learning hours. Each module, each learning unit has got academic metadata. You're probably not used to that from your previous studies. The academic metadata are the intended learning outcomes, and they are defined by the European Qualification Framework for 2018 and towards Bloom's taxonomy. There is prerequisites for each one of the modules. There is a syllabus, there's assessment criteria, etc. And all that are down on the basic module level. That's very important for you to study those academic metadata, but because that is where you will learn what you're going to assimilate and how you're going to be guided through the process. In the repository, we've got a mosaic of learning modules. This is an example from there. That's what it looks like inside the module. Now, you should also be aware of the fact that you're going to have the possibility to collaborate in long-term perspective with other students from other universities and with educators from other universities. This program is unique in the sense that it's the first one in a global collaboration. Later this year, we will have one master program that will be starting in Cuba, and we will have one master program that will be starting in Bolivia. There will also be other shorter programs that will be started non-academic directly, but towards professional, diplomado and certificado in Brazil and Bolivia. And next year, there are programs in preparation, one more program in Bolivia, in Cameroon, Ecuador, Ethiopia, Guatemala, Mauritius, Mozambique, and Peru. So we're here looking upon a global collaboration perspective where we have got educators from, at the present time, 36 different universities in 20 different countries who put together their brains in order to create courses and programs for you to collaborate upon. And of course, there will also then be students at all these universities whom you can attach yourself to and who might be reading the same material, or at least will be reading very, very similar material as you are doing. So now, what about the quality of these resources? So when you've got one teacher who works and develops all the material, well, you know whom you're going to go to, you know what the quality of that of the teacher might be, etc. In this case here, we have got many teachers working together, and in order to do so, we have put together a self-assessment system, which you can see in the picture to the left here, a self-assessment system in where the teachers have to go through rigorous self-testing before they're allowed to publish the material. And once they have published the material, they should also go through a review process where other teachers look upon the results and present it, look upon it, give feedback such that this here will be improved. It's a quality improvement process that we're going through. It's circular, just like the circular economy. We're going around until we find that the material that is presented has got the highest possible quality that we can have. And in such a case, the teachers will receive a digital academy quality. They can have the standard badge, as you can see here on the picture, top right corner. And if they then have done the reviews properly and the reviews are positive, then they will be able to get a gold or a platinum badge instead. And all that is something that you will see in the modules, so that you will be able to, through that, qualify and look upon what the material is, how good it is, if it's gone through a review process, etc. Now, I spoke about the perspective of the flipped classroom in the sense that you should read the material before. Hopefully, there should be, in most of the modules, there should be some hints related to things if you run into trouble. And of course, you should always consult with your colleagues. That's the peer learning is one of the best items in any learning system. So you should always discuss with your peer students when you might run into trouble in one way or another. Now, if you come to, in all modules, you should come to some basic control questions. And if you do not come to these basic, or once you go into these basic control questions, if you do not answer them, then your system will be, in principle, will be locked so that you cannot go any further. And you should, in principle, there will be exceptions, of course, but you should, in principle, not be allowed into the discussion forum, because the discussion forum is intended for the students and the teachers to discuss on a higher level, and one should not go back and have to wait based upon the fact that there might be some persons who have not assimilated the knowledge that they should have assimilated. You will have a number of laboratory exercises. In the whole concept, at the present time, we work with about 20 remote labs. There are 7 that are up running at the present time. You've got 4 labs, remote labs in Sri Lanka. You've got 2 in Bolivia, I think, and there's 1 in Brazil, etc. And before you end your studies, you will have access to approximately 20 remote labs from the countries that I mentioned in my a few minutes ago. The challenges. You will be working with challenge-driven learning. That's a completely new concept for Sri Lanka, and it's very advanced also. It's not all universities, far from it, in Europe that are working on this concept here. So you will you will work together with some of the European teachers under the direction, of course, of one of the Sri Lankan teachers, where you will be able to learn, you will be able to find a roadmap of how you should attack a problem and what you should be doing during your challenges, etc. So this here is something that is fairly new. This year you will be working with the hospitality sector, and the system is set up such that you will have contact with the industry. You will have lots of possibilities for coming up with ideas for creating your own business models, etc. For that purpose, we're also giving you training towards entrepreneurship, 21st century skills, pitch training. There's also modules related to how you can go about to start your own energy company, business models, etc. How you should evaluate existing technology so that you do not think that you should go out and develop something which is already existing somewhere else. Professional responsibility and ethics is a very, very, very important aspect of our program here. In order to learn, you will have case studies that are available, case studies on different issues, solar power, gas turbines, trains, flight, etc. At the end, after your studies, you will be able to continue to build your own learning journeys towards further achievements. And this here is illustrated by a scale that we're looking upon here, so that you will have the possibility to continue your studies within the concept of the Explore Energy Digital Academy. With that, I would like to suggest to you that you should be taking off towards saving the spaceship Earth for the better of the future. Thank you very much.
Taking off to save spaceship Earth. Thank you, sir. Dance is the hidden language of the soul. And Sri Lanka is a country with a rich history and culture rooted in dance. Tonight's entertainment act is a traditional low country dance called the Thelma dance. which is a major low country dance with colorful traditional outfits. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the Thelma dance. That was truly energetic and colorful. Thank you. Our next distinguished guest is someone who served the Ceylon Electricity Board for over 25 years. He was a former editor of Sri Lanka Engineering News. Please put your hands together to the Deputy General Manager of Transmission and Generation Planning of the Ceylon Electricity Board, Engineer Lakshita Veerasinghe.
Chairman of the University Grants Commission, Vice Chancellors, Deans of the Faculties of Engineering, other academic and administrative staff of the universities, students and ladies and gentlemen. Let me start by commending the organizers and the 4 universities that have joined together for selecting the subject of energy for this MSc program. We are living in a very interesting time period where energy systems are becoming very interesting. I'll tell you why shortly. In my opinion, we are in the threshold of transition from one energy system to another. In the past, in the history of human mankind, we have seen us transitioning several times from different energy forms to others. But this time, things are going to be very different. If you start from the time where the Industrial Revolution started, in the 18th and the 19th century, the preferred fuel was coal. In fact, the Industrial Revolution was built on coal. All these steam-powered engines that had powered the industry and the steam-powered locomotives that was the preferred mode of transport then, that drove the Industrial Revolution for 2 centuries. Then in the 20th century, with the discovery and development of oil, petroleum oil, coal gradually gave way to petroleum oil in the transport sector. Then came electricity. Of course, electricity is not a primary form of energy, but people started using electricity for end-use purposes, sometimes replacing certain primary energy. But what I want to get your attention is, all these transitions have taken a lot of time, sometimes decades, sometimes centuries, from coal to petroleum, petroleum to liquid natural gas, electricity, so on and so forth. But the energy transition that we have in front of us is not going to be that slow. It's going to be very rapid. So much so, I will tell you what I say so in a few minutes. So much so that sometimes the traditional knowledge systems that we had can even be obsolete. And we may have to learn new things, new knowledge, in order to embrace this new transition. I will tell you one example by taking, for example, in my opinion, we are clearly at a crossroad with several different energy forms for us to decide we don't know exactly which would be the preferred form of energy for our future. There are a number of different options. I will tell you one example so that you will realize what I really meant by saying that we are at a crossroad. In fact, there is a lot of uncertainty also as to where the future world would be heading. This uncertainty gave a lot of challenges as well as a lot of opportunities. These challenges make it so much interesting. I will take one example, and then I will tell you what I meant by all this. One of the possible energy sources that may take us in the next decade can be electricity. Of course, electricity, there are people who say that electricity may become the preferred energy carrier of the world. All forms of primary energy will be converted to electricity, and electricity may be used for all end-user purposes, including mobility. That is one option. So let's take that option and see. There are a number of different options. We'll take that option and see what are the challenges and what are the big opportunities, and what are the uncertainties that I just talked about. I will tell you a small story which I read from one of the magazines. I think it was in the IEEE Explorer, where the article said that if you go back in time and bring back Sir Alexander Graham Bell to the modern world, you bring him back to the modern world, give him a modern smartphone to his hand, the inventor of the telephone may not know what to do with it. At the same time, if you go back in time and bring back Thomas Alva Edison, the person who was credited to having the first distribution grid. Of course, Thomas Alva Edison was not, there were two camps. Thomas Alva Edison was supporting DC, whereas there is another camp, Westinghouse, and Nikola Tesla was supporting AC. But still, Thomas Alva Edison was the person who was credited for the first distribution grid. So if you go back in time and bring Thomas Alva Edison to this present time and take him to an electricity grid, the article said he will feel at home. That is because that is the type of changes that had taken place during the last century in the electricity grid. Very little, very little. But the things are going to change a lot in the future. I will tell you why. All this time, the power grids are also called synchronous power grids. All our conventional generators are synchronous machines, which are running in synchronism with each other. When one generator changes its output without any intentional control interaction between other generators, all other generators adjust for the change. For 9 years in my career in the electricity board, I was at the National Control Center, where I have seen this in my own eyes with these SCADA monitors. When we changed the output of one generator, all other generators started changing either their speed or their operating point. This is all by laws of physics. But if our preferred fuel for the future would be electricity, the electricity would be run mainly by sources like solar power and wind, which are all non-synchronous technologies. They offered a power electronic interface to the grid. They will no longer be driven by the laws of physics, or the synchronism will not maintain by laws of physics. We have a lot of controls and information technology to maintain laws of physics, maintain the synchronism, which gives huge headaches to power system engineers like us. Even now, we call it the instantaneous non-synchronous penetration, the amount of non-synchronous penetration in the system at a given time. Our simulation says that this figure would reach about 50% in 2024, 2025, which is alarming. I don't want to go into technical details, but you know that it is the inertia of the system that keeps the synchronism to each other. All these technologies not offer any mechanical inertia. As a result, the future direction, in case the future direction is electricity, if the world think that they choose electricity as the preferred energy carrier, there would be a lot of challenges to future energy engineers. I will tell you one other example. I'm also the head of long-term planning of CEB, and we prepare two documents. You may have heard about it, the long-term generation expansion plan and the long-term transmission development plan. Excuse me. The long-term generation expansion plan we prepare is for a 20-year period. If you go through the last long-term generation expansion plan that we prepared for the period 2023-2042, and if you go through the executive summary says, even though the plan is for 20 years, don't look at the last 10 years. It's very difficult for even power system engineers to foresee what would happen in the last 10 years of this 20-year plan. We said, take all during the first 10 years for development. Let us prepare more plans in the coming planning cycles. Once in every 2 years, we prepare a plan, so that when that day comes closer and closer, we may know where the world is actually heading. That is the type of uncertainty that we are heading in energy systems. But these are very big challenges. At the same time, these are very interesting challenges for people who are venturing into learning into energy systems. Also, I will also give you two advisors for those who are studying energy systems and aspiring to become future energy engineers. There's another thing, okay, there's another thing. Now, all this time I was talking about electricity being produced with non-synchronous technologies. Let's say there is also a possibility that sometimes the hydrogen economy may come up. Everybody is now talking about green hydrogen. People don't remember what blue hydrogen is. People have altogether forgotten what gray hydrogen is. Everybody's talking about green hydrogen. Let's say it's hydrogen. If by any chance the hydrogen economy come up, then hydrogen will be used to generate electricity, and once again our electricity grids would be synchronous. So without knowing whether the future would be solar and wind generating electricity, or solar and wind electricity generating hydrogen, and hydrogen would fire our electrical generators, it's very difficult to plan for the future. So that is why I said we are at a crossroad, very interesting crossroad with so many different choices, but these are challenges at the same time, very interesting time to go into energy systems, study energy systems. I will also give you 2 quick advices before I wind up. When you are learning and when you are deciding courses on energy systems, I also kindly request you to have a look at the current national energy policy. I will take you through only two items so that you can think in this line when you're designing your courses. The current national energy policy, where I was a member of the drafting team, is stood on 10 pillars. And this particular energy policy that was gazetted in 2019 had selected one peculiar pillar as an energy policy element. The energy policy says, if you are trying to, I will first read it out and then I will explain what it is. The energy policy says, you must use the size of the Sri Lanka's energy and power system to nurture local industry, local entrepreneurship and innovation. Now, by this simple statement, you may not know what it means. I will tell you what that is. Sri Lanka, if you take our country size is not enough to nurture big industries. We don't have a big vehicle market for automakers to bring industries that are doing automaking. Same with any other big industry. But the power system and the energy system are sizable for us to nurture local entrepreneurship. Look at the people who have started building up mini hydro plants 20 years back. Where are they now? They are very good, doing very well in other countries. Think about the people who have started engaged in doing EPC contracts with the CEB. Some of them are even putting up power plants in Bangladesh, all on their own. So the energy policy says, energy is not about meeting your energy demands, but while you are going for a target, you must also achieve a lot of things during the journey. One thing is build up local entrepreneurship. A lot of people think that they are going after targets, 20% renewable, 30% renewable, they try to go for 70% renewable, but when they are going for big targets, they realize that our local entrepreneurs may miss the opportunity. The big players who are coming from outside to bring up these big power plants. So that is why I said, whenever you are thinking about energy, don't think about energy of meeting X amount of kilojoules or X amount of kilowatt hours or gigawatt hours. Think about the journey. This is what the national energy policy is, point number 1. Point number 2, there are so many misconceptions about the energy and the power sector. I don't want to go through the long list of misconceptions, but the only advice I want to give you is, think holistically. Don't take one energy form. Don't try to solve problems around it, but think holistically. Once again, I will go back to the national energy policy. I don't know how many of you know that if you take the total end-use energy in the country, total amount of energy used by end users, electricity is only 14%, 14%. Though a lot of people are talking about electricity, 86% of the energy used in the country is not electricity. But everyone is talking and focusing about electricity. Everyone wants to make this 40% full renewable, but they don't know that already we have 50% of this 14% is already renewable. We have generated 50% from renewable 2022, 50% of renewable in 2021. So the incremental gain that you get, even if you make the whole electricity sector fully renewable, is only 7%. 86% of your problem is outside. Out of this 86%, I don't know how many of you know that 44% is biomass and fuel, firewood. That share is rapidly coming down. Nobody's taking any notice of it. In 2000, this figure was 63%. It had gradually come down to 44%. People are migrating en masse to other commercial fossil fuels because of supply of biomass is not stable. There's no commercial supply of biomass. 44% is biomass and firewood. So national energy policy says, this is, I'm just giving you a hint as to how you look at energy, not just take a one energy form, but look holistically. The national energy policy says, if you want to build up coal power plants, if that is the most economical choice, go ahead and do it. But at the same time, you have to offset all the carbon dioxide that you release to the atmosphere by carrying out carbon sequestration plantation, capture all the carbon dioxide, and what do you do with that timber? You put it back to the energy supply, the biomass supply of the country. That is how you look at energy in the total picture. You don't simply take one fuel and say, no, coal is bad, coal is ugly. But try to look at the overall energy picture. Then only you will capture all these things. So there are very good things like this in the national energy policy. So always, when you are devising your courses, teaching your students, take a look at the national energy policy. I was once a member of this drafting team. So with that, I will conclude. I don't want to go on and tell you about various things. With that, I will conclude, and I will wish all the academic staff and the students that you will be able to take us to this very interesting energy transition. You will help us to guide through this energy transition and help to save the spaceship Earth. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable insight on energy. Ladies and gentlemen, we regret to inform that our chief guest for tonight, Honorable Dr. Susil Premajayanta, will be absent due to unavoidable circumstances. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to announce that our esteemed Vice Chancellors and Deans of the 4 local universities from the OUSL Energy Project will now be sharing their knowledge on a wide range of topics. To start off, please put your hands together to the Vice Chancellor of the Open University of Sri Lanka, Professor P.M.C. Tilakaratna, who will be presenting on the topic Energy for Industry.
Master of Science in Energy for Circular Economy. This program is a 2-year master's aligned with the Sri Lanka Qualification Framework, level 10. So, these 2 years we have structured to the 4 semesters. The first 2 semesters, our new learning partners pursue with the Open University, all course in it, but it doesn't mean that the academics from only source out from the Open University, but all 4 universities and our European partners are, of course, contributing to the delivery very first year itself. And in the 3rd semester, of course, we are again with the specialization tracks. So therefore, the Open University of Sri Lanka works with the track of energy for industry. Energy is the main pillar for livelihood. So therefore, it is not working. So these 4 tracks, the OUSL, as you see, the energy for industry, the University of Moratuwa, renewable energy systems, and University of Peradeniya, power generation and supply, University of Ruhuna, dedicated to deliver energy, technology and management. So all geared towards the energizing green economy for sustainable society. Now, why energy for industry is important in very brief. The development of the industry sector, so the country's economy, of course, it's a critical component that helps for growth and development. So that we need to understand the source of energy, optimizing energy use, as Mr. Lakshita said, implementing sustainable practices, and staying up to date of energy policy and trends. Industry professionals can position themselves for success in a rapidly changing energy landscape. So we know that in Sri Lanka, energy is one of the biggest consumers of energy. And as a result, it also has a significant impact on the environment. So therefore, using renewable energy sources such as solar, wind and hydro can help to reduce industry's carbon footprint and promote sustainability. What are the key aspects of it? In today's world, energy efficiency is becoming increasingly important. So studies in energy can help industry professionals understand how to reduce energy consumption and optimize energy use, which can result in significant cost savings. Then environmental sustainability, we all are looking for. That is, the use of traditional energy sources can have significant environmental impacts, such as greenhouse gas emissions and air pollution. This program helps future industry professionals understand the importance of transforming to renewable energy sources and implementing sustainable practices. Then emerging energy technologies and trends. A program like this helps industry professionals to stay up to date on the latest developments in energy, technology, and understand how these developments may impact their industry. Again, energy-related regulations and policies. Many countries have energy-related regulations and policies that affect the industry. Now only Sri Lanka is thinking about education policy, industrial policy, economic policy. So therefore the policy makers, it's very much important, this, that energy for industry track. Then energy costs. Energy cost can significantly impact the competitiveness of industry. Courses on energy can help industry professionals develop strategies to reduce energy consumption, improve energy efficiency, and optimize energy use, which can lead to cost savings and increased competitiveness. So therefore, with this, so these are the courses offered. This is important for our learning partners. You could see here, reformation of energy supply industry, energy management and auditing in industry, pollution control and waste management, energy storage in industry, renewable energy for industry, entrepreneurship in industry business, biorefinery process technologies, net zero buildings for industry, industrial energy, plantations, and smart electrical energy systems. With this, I hope this track is very clear. So I hope you will embark with the intended qualification framework. Of course, when you complete your research pertaining to one of the specialized tracks. Thank you very much.
Thank you, dear sir. Now, please welcome the Dean of the Faculty of Engineering of the University of Moratuwa, representing the Vice Chancellor of the University of Moratuwa, Professor KTMU Hemapala, to address you on the topic renewable energy systems.
Good evening, all of you, Vice Chancellors, and deans and academics and non-academic staff representing from different universities and invitees and dear students. And today, Professor N.D. Gunawardena, Vice Chancellor, unable to join the meeting. Because of that, he asked me to read his message, and I'm reading it. It is great pleasure to be a partner of the consortium offering the joint MSc programs in energy for circular economy, which is the first of its kind in Sri Lanka, featuring embedded 21st century skills, challenge, and case-based projects, and student-centered teaching learning methods, fully online delivery, international teaching panel, as well as, most importantly, remote laboratories. The MSc program is a unique program, first being a highly collaborative offering for Sri Lankan universities and 3 universities from the European Union. The collaborative offering is provided on a distance learning platform, and another first for the nation. The collaboration enables bringing experts from different universities as well as economies to a common platform, which is a significant offering to the participating students. At a time when education is becoming borderless, the University of Moratuwa is happy to be a part of the future today with this postgraduate program. The University of Moratuwa, as a leading university in Sri Lanka, is a visionary to be globally recognized university with an empowered environment for world-class graduates. Our mission consists of 3 strong pillars, namely transformative education, high-impact research, and social contribution. The program is in line with University of Moratuwa's strategic objectives of promoting joint and split-type degrees, attracting international students and staff, enhancing international collaborations, incorporating more real-life scenarios linked to industry, and producing innovative and entrepreneurial graduates. I believe MSc in Energy for Circular Economy will be a good point in transforming the Sri Lankan higher education landscape. A circular economy plays a key role in sustainable development, and renewable energy is an essential element in a circular economy. With ambitious economy, environmental, and socially sustainable development goals, national, regional, as well as global level human capital development in the renewable energy sector, employing new technologies, innovations, and entrepreneurship are of utmost importance. With this understanding in mind and having relevant expertise in the renewable energy sector, the Department of Chemical and Process Engineering join forces with the Department of Mechanical Engineering and the Department of Electrical Engineering to offer the renewable energy system track, a specialization in the second year of the program. The University of Moratuwa look forward to welcoming future energy leaders to this program. Professor N.D. Gunawardena, Vice Chancellor, University of Moratuwa. Thank you very much.
Thank you, dear sir. Next up, please put your hands together to welcome the Vice Chancellor of the University of Peradeniya, Professor M.D. Lamavansa, addressing you on the topic power generation and supply.
Very good evening to all of you. Although he is not here, Senior Professor Sampath Amaratunga, the Chairman of the UGC, fellow Vice Chancellors, Professors Tilakaratna and Professor Sujiva Amarasena, Engineer Veera Singha, Professor Hemapala, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. As we heard over and over again, this is a landmark occasion for the reasons that development of the MSc in Energy for Circular Economy, what we are talking about today, is a successful collaborative effort of several universities. and also related to one of the most important themes in the current day. After all, economy and energy are inseparable and interdependent. The team, working hard over the last 2 years, deserves high praise, actually mouthful of praise, for their continued and unwavering commitment to develop and also implement the MSc course, despite the difficulties they faced. The collateral beneficial effects of this exercise, the partnership, are many. And the universities and the country are to gain from these collateral benefits. Skilling our own staff in competitive grant writing and proper and successful management of projects of this nature and teamwork. Establishment of inter-university links, both within and with outside our country, are some of the benefits. And they will have a long-lasting effect on our university functions. And I'm very glad the team headed by Dr. Lekaka Bakmi from University of Peradeniya, with so many other colleagues of mine, have contributed immensely and for the betterment of this course and my own university. Through this course, we will be creating the workforce required for energy sector, a sector that the government has very impressive plans for, as we heard from Engineer Veerasinghe, in the both short and long term. Professor Sampath Amaratunga said that it's a very rare poster to see. In other fields, and thanks to the Erasmus and the local collaboration, there will be similar posters coming with at least 6 universities of Sri Lankan origin in one and the same poster. In this MSc course, I am pleased to note the inclusion of independent research project. This will help to create new basic and I believe applied knowledge required for implementation and monitoring of the projects of the nature that the government is strongly thinking about to help this country. University of Peradeniya, with the leadership taken by the Faculty of Engineering in general and the Faculty of Mechanical Engineering in particular, has a lot to offer and also a lot to gain. And especially with its involvement in research areas, research related to different energy areas. I know that they are working on generating energy from waves, and one of my staff members is heavily involved in putting up solar panels which are transparent and giving shade to the tea plantation, which is a must for tea plantation, and also contributing to the solar projects like at Mana, and developing new types of inverters, I'm sure can contribute beyond what we heard about the course today, especially in the area of research necessary for the development of this country. And there was a Clean Energy Summit a couple of days ago organized by the Presidential Secretariat, and we heard a lot there about the practical aspects of implementations. I believe the universities involved in this exercise can offer a lot by generating data independently and unbiased data necessary for initiation and progression of the programs that the government is planning to establish. and especially for the monitoring purposes. And this country has produced, as I understand, fair degree or fair quantity of new knowledge in this field. And the University of Peradeniya very soon will be hosting a symposium, and while inviting the like-minded partner universities in Sri Lanka to take a stock of the knowledge that we have created and also what kind of knowledge we need to create in this sector to help the country. And I hope to see you there, and you will be informed well in advance about the arrangements which is being already done. And dear participants, dear students, and I'm very pleased that you will become part of my university as well, in addition to 3 other universities. I wish you the very best from University of Peradeniya for successful completion of this course in 2 years' time. And have a wonderful evening. Thank you once again.
Thank you, dear sir. Last but not least, please give a loud round of applause to the Vice Chancellor of the University of Ruhuna, Senior Professor Sujiva Amarasena, who will be addressing us on the topic Energy, Technology and Management.
Good evening to all of you. Professor Sampath Amaratunga, Chairman UGC, though he's not there. Vice Chancellor, Professor Lal Tilakaratne, Open University of Sri Lanka, the Vice Chancellor of the leading university of this project, Professor Lamawansa, Vice Chancellor, University of Peradeniya, and Dean, Faculty of Engineering, Mr. Nakshita Veerasinghe, Deputy General Manager from CAB, all deans, academics, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear students. It gives me immense pleasure to be part of this project as a Vice Chancellor. I've just started from what Professor Sampath Amaratunga ended. We were going through an enormously difficult period. Soon after Easter Sunday attacks, about having collaborations and signing MOUs and getting funding from overseas communities and agencies and countries. Everything was monitored, and that's why we had to go to the cabinet. And ultimately, we were having, as University of Ruhuna, many projects in our hand where my signature was needed. And I was under immense pressure from my own staff to sign, violating the government circulars. And ultimately we signed. So on 15th of March, we inaugurated a master's in a course in building resilience in tropical agriculture and economy, BRITE, a similar project to this. And again, the grant was nearly €1 million for the university, and we are the leading university in that project. So we were getting many projects, and we couldn't utilize that at that time. So you can see how political turmoil and problems and economic crises impact university education. However, what Professor Sampath did not mention at that time was that we were able to transform our entire education with that and the COVID-19 to online platforms, and all of you contributed to it. And yeah, be proud and happy as part of the state university system in this country for doing that. We developed presidential task force reports for reforming entire education system in Sri Lanka, and I can guarantee that none of you have read it. It's in the public domain for more than 1 year now. It's an online platform. It's there, all reports. Reforming general education, schools, reforming higher education, reforming nursing education, reforming many things. All those reports are there, and it was tabled in the parliament for people to read, and I believe, I probably think that not many have read it. Please go and read it, because that's something that we did as members of those forces, many academics, by contributing that. So I started doing that because we have gone through enormous difficulties as administrators in getting these things completed and bringing it up to today. So from today onwards, you will be taking responsibilities for implementation of the outcomes of this project. So our university will take up energy technologies and management. And I don't want to talk about energy technologies. I think Lakshit has already spoken about it. I know it's about hydropower, fossil power, gas, coal and fuel, solar power, renewable resources, nuclear power and so on. So I think we probably have some knowledge about all these aspects. I think we lack perhaps even research and ability, capacity to store energy. And I think energy storage is a serious issue in our country. So please work on this. Produce low-cost batteries, long-lasting, so that we can save energy generated by renewable resources. Other side, the management and managers. I think we are not absolutely putrid managers of many things in the country, but we are not good as well. You take managing everything, including politics, countries, education, hospitals, universities. I don't think we are very good at it. We have problems everywhere. But we have not been that bad, but we have never been able to review our management models and internal monitoring systems for 5, 6, 7 decades. And we are continuing with what British inherited, left us with in 1948, and protecting that as a wonderful package when they have changed everything there. So I think I invite all of you as academics and students to rethink about this whole aspect. I'm sure you know that we were asked to reduce cost of recurrent expenditure by 6% by a treasury circular. So I said, look, energy audits have shown that 30% of energy is wasted. Like you see water being wasted on the road with broken taps. Can't we reduce that 30%? And I think we'll probably reduce the recurrent expenditure by 6% immediately if you do that. So we are not good managers of this, even power utilization at home, in our own backyard, not only the workplace. See whether we could educate and educate and educate through the capacity building of another generation of energy managers in the future. So try and do that. Let me just come down to Erasmus projects a little bit now. We have had, our university has had many Erasmus grants. Erasmus grants are coming from European Union. And obviously, those countries in the European Union give this money for the capacity development in education, higher education sector. And that money comes from taxpayers of those countries. Taxpayers of those countries. So, should we be responsible, or shouldn't we be responsible for those communities which pay taxes to develop capacity building in higher education in Sri Lanka and other countries? Do we ever think of that? When our students go through this education, go through this MSc for the next 2 years, please think of this. It may be a grant, it's not a loan, but it was given by European Union people with their tax money to develop capacity building in a country that's struggling to survive. Therefore, Please be responsible for that money. And the effort and energy that was put by all these academics in front of you today. Because I find it extremely difficult to understand and believe that as a country, whether we are aware of the conscience of the nation, ජාතියේ හෘද සාක්ෂිය පිළිබඳ අවබෝධයක් අපට තිබේද? I have a serious problem with this. It can't be different from you and me. This should be same conscience. For example, I'm not touching you. We spent almost 7.5 million rupees to produce a doctor over a 5-year period, and out of 1,500 doctors we produce, 500 of them leave the country within 1 year without paying a single rupee as taxes. So do you think that higher education model is sustainable? It amounts to about 12.5 million US dollars a year. Would that contribute to bankruptcy in the nation? We spent 84,000 million rupees, 84 billion rupees for higher education system in this country. That's only state universities, 17. 84 billion rupees, that's 84,000 million rupees. Did you know this before? And we only have 120,000 students there in the system, little over 120,000. That's about 665,000 rupees per student. What will actually happen if the government decides to give 700,000 rupees per student, or 500,000 rupees for humanities students and 1.5 million rupees for a medical student, and ask them to go and get education from any university of their choice if they have qualifications? Do you think state university system will survive with the current approaches that we have? 84,000 million rupees divided by 365 days, that is including holidays, is 230 million rupees a day. So if Inter-University Student Federation disrupts the education of the entire state university system for 1 day, we will lose 230 million rupees. I'm not talking about other organizations which can disrupt it. But does that justify our understanding about higher education system in Sri Lanka? So, do these students know it? Do we know this? Do we think about it? Can we explain this? So, please, dear students, as the Vice Chancellor of the University of Peradeniya said, please learn. Contribute back. So we have energy sources. I was just having a little discussion with Lakshita about how we could survive energy crisis in this country. So there are projects on nuclear energy. I was told, actually this morning in a different discussion, that offshore energy resources could develop up to 27,000 megawatts of energy, electricity. It will be costly, but that's a lot more than what we really need at this point. But if we are going to develop electricity dependent country, economy, everything, might be part of that, or half of that, or quarter of that might be useful. Because I know my university consumes 1.3 megawatts of power every year, 10 faculties in 6 different places. And I went through a project to develop solar energy systems for University of Ruhuna with the intention to make the bills zero, and found that rooftops are not suitable to place solar units because sun always rises from east and sets in the west. And if you have a rooftop that's starting from east to west, only half the day, the solar unit will get power or generate power only for half of the day. So your rooftops are not suitable. And many buildings in this country are not suitable for this. And I am going through that difficulty, but I think I'm managing. And so that's our problem. So technologies, you can see long-term thinking in long-term lateral thinking in many aspects of construction industry, green economy, you talk about any topic. Everywhere we have very narrowed vision or tunnel vision, where we don't think of potential developments and potential future aspects of changes. Of course, in our own houses, we do change regularly when things don't go very well, but that's at our cost. But these are, so there we have a problem. So all of you, please, as students, I think we have got nearly 120 students, I was told. Please commit yourself for learning, think of country's problems, develop skills to do research, and then give things back to change the country and change the people and develop this country, because we owe a lot for this country as people. I have, of course, I think everybody who is sitting on this chair, most of us were sitting on this front row, we have paid back our debts to this country. But those of you who are still to pay back, please commit yourself and return that investment the country invested in you over the first 13 years of school education, and of course undergraduate education. I believe you spent about 1 million rupees per year as an engineering student for your education, which was free for you, but somebody paid, and hope things will change in this country in another 25 years' time. You will be taking leadership in this country and changing this country, and we will not be there, but wherever we are, we'll be happy. So thank you very much to the Open University of Sri Lanka for organizing this event, and we are very happy to be part of this as University of Runa, and wish all of you the very best in this entire program. Thank you.
Return the investment this country has made to you. Thank you, sir. Tonight's second entertainment act will be an energetic drum orchestra incorporating traditional Sri Lankan drums. The Gataberea, also known as the Kandyan drum, the Yak Berea, also known as the Low Country drum, the Daula, also known as the Sabaragama drum, with the Thammattama and Punjabi dole accompanied with the flute. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the drum orchestra. Ladies and gents, there was an energetic rendition from the Department of Fine Arts of the University of California. Now, for tonight's vote of thanks. Tonight's vote of thanks will be given by someone who is an expert in the field of fluid mechanics. She has a PhD from the University of Warwick. Please put your hands together for the head of the Department of Mechanical Engineering of the Open University of Sri Lanka and the OUSL Program Coordinator for the EUSL Energy Project, Dr. Iresha Atanak.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, I'm here to thank all the people who helped us throughout this process. This was an adventurous journey. It was not easy, but to start off with, our chief guest today, Professor Sampath Amaratunga, as he clearly mentioned, he helped us a lot. We should be very thankful to him for being here today and helping us throughout the project. And as the main coordinating university of the USL Energy Project, I wish to thank all the Vice Chancellors who are present here. Not only your presence, your enormous help throughout the project, USL Energy Project. And our guest speaker today, Engineer Mr. Lakshita Veerasinghe. Thank you, Lakshita, for your wonderful speech. I know you're going to nail it, and you did it. Thank you so much. And then this USL Energy Project was co-funded by European Union. We should be very thankful to European Union, all the personnel who involved in the European Union. And the project was backed heavily by Professor Torsten Franzen. I don't know whether you can hear us. If you're hearing, thank you very much, Professor Torsten, for all the help given to us. And thank you very much, all the deans from the Open University who are present here today. Thank you so much. And all the other universities, deans here, you had to come, I know, your long miles. Thank you very much. And all the support given throughout the project. And this project was actually started in 2020. Our former Vice Chancellor, Professor Anban Ariyadure's time, he took the initiative for this type of a groundbreaking project. We should be very thankful for him taking this initiative. And then, even though we started the project in 2020, the project work was really hindered by the COVID-19 situation and then some other economic crisis in the country. The project work was restarted after some time, and we should be very thankful to our present Vice Chancellor, Professor Tilakaratne, for guiding us and giving enormous energetic help to this project. Right, Professor Tilakaratne, thank you so much for all your support on behalf of all the partner universities. I know you showed us how to work, and you're such an influencing and inspiring character. We all engineers now thinking in line with the finance and marketing. It's just like having an MBA, right? Thank you so much for all your help. And as I told you, the journey was a bit of a rushy journey, and I would like to thank our registrar and her administrative staff, and Versa and his staff for enormous support given to us, because as I told you, at the last moment we had to table certain documents at the various fora, and sorry if any inconvenience happened during that. And then all the students, thank you very much for getting on board with us. We at the Open University Mechanical Engineering Department, together with other 3 departments, we are offering this master's program, and we are delighted to see you're succeeding in that, especially the Department of Mechanical Engineering at the Open University. We are not that new to energy academia, so we have been successfully offering our Master of Energy Management program for 4 years now. So don't worry, you will be definitely succeeding in your studies, and we are delighted to see once again. And all our partner fellow academics of the project. Thank you very much. As I told you, this was an adventurous journey, and we are still holding together. Thank you so much. Nice to see all of you here, and we are continuing to hold our hands together, and we will be succeeding, I'm sure. Thank you very much, all partners, fellow academics from the other universities, and especially all our project members, OUSL Energy project members. And Professor Tilakaratne, ever since you came to the Open University, you must have been hearing the symphony by the Department of Mechanical Engineering. I, as the head of the department, cannot whistle the symphony. You need a whole orchestra to play that. Department of Mechanical Engineering being the having the highest number of staff members of the Open University, and having highest number of directors serving to you for the smooth operation of the university, and being the richest in terms of department fund. I cannot once again alone whistle the symphony. You need a whole orchestra to play that. It's all my department members. You're equally valued. I'm truly, truly, truly blessed having you. Each of you, we are working with the same spirit, from professor to the lab attendant, peon. Once again, thank you very much. All of you, your services, once again, equally valued. Department of Mechanical Engineering one team working for one goal. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, we have reached the end of the inauguration ceremony for the Master of Science in Energy for Circular Economy. It has been an absolute pleasure to have you all here to witness this momentous occasion. As we celebrate this milestone, we would like you to invite you to join us for the fellowship dinner tonight. Thank you and have a good night.